Hello, this is James Zetta James Thompson, your host from the Change Builds Authenticity Podcast. We here at the Change Builds Authenticity Podcast will transform your being by stepping into authenticity. Get ready to unravel, walk in freedom, and renew your own spirit. Becoming authentic starts with walking in your truth. May the life that you live be an example of how you show up in the world. Our mission here at Change Builds Authenticity Podcast is just that. CHANGE is the method used to help individuals transform their life. Change your mindset. Humble your spirit. Aim to achieve, accept, and adjust your life accordingly. Be nice to others. Be grateful and have an attitude of gratitude. Empower others by telling your story. Yeah. Today, we have a guest that I want you all to just get yourselves acclimated with. Her name is Felice Kimbrough, and she is a digital media specialist. And This is what she do. I have worked with her for the last 3 years. And I'm stuck with her for life. Okay, so I want Felice to come on through, Felice. Let's talk about this, what you do and how you can help so many people in the world like you've helped me brand myself and have an identity that represents the business that I actually am leading.
Yes. So first of all, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm so honored to be a guest on the podcast. I absolutely love working with you the last 3 years. I told my mom, I said, if it's anything James Zetta can count on, she knows she can count on Felice because she know Felice gonna get it right. So I appreciate that, but I'm glad you asked what a digital media specialist is. So a digital media specialist is a professional who uses digital technology to create, manage, and optimize online content for various platforms. So essentially, we're responsible for developing and executing digital marketing strategies to achieve specific business goals. So some of those business key responsibilities may look like content creation, right? Articles, blog posts, videos, infographics, social media posts, content management, overseeing creation, editing, publishing, social media management, search engine optimization, email marketing, reviewing your analytics. That's all goes into digital media specialists, right? So in addition to, breaking down that content creation aspect, I create websites. I'm a website developer, design and development. And then I also design flyers, marketing material, business cards, all that to kind of get your brand in the right place and put you, on the forefront. So that's kind of sums up what I do in a heartbeat.
Oh, that's excellent, because when I started, I want to talk about when I started Just So Clothing and Scrubs, and when I met Felice, and how we connected on a whole lot of things. She is the reason why this podcast exists today. I went to her. She did my website for the podcast. She built the backdrop for the podcast. She gave me all types of tools to actually incorporate with the microphones and things of that nature. She also taught me how to brand myself as being a podcaster. So my focus on brand is all about quality. What attracts me to go to different organizations, the first thing I see is the outer appearance of the business before I even meet the business. I also look for if that business have a website where I can learn about who is running this business, who's the president, if there is a board of directors. Is very good to have a website. So that tells me a lot about how much people are putting into themselves and their businesses.
Absolutely.
If I go to a website and it doesn't have, it's just not set up correctly. And I'm going to use a designer that I really, really love that's not very expensive, Tory Burch. is one of the people that I looked at her website, her clothing, her brand. I mean, she has this peace sign. I call it the peace sign. And I was like, I really like the way she branded herself. And that brand goes on everything that she owns. So quality is everything.
Yes, it is.
And I want Felice to go ahead and touch on what that looked like, so that she can help a lot of small businesses I see that need a lot of help in their branding and identity.
Yes, and brand identity is so important because with branding, it's, you know, visual identity is key, right? Like you just said, I'll walk into a place and I can, you know, the first thing we're looking at as consumers is how is this place? How are we perceiving, right? How are your consumers perceiving you as a small business? That's the first thing we're checking out. And even before establishing visual identity, we got to talk about, you know, your brand recognition, you know, your brand messaging, right? Your first impression is important, but what are your mission and values that help shape your brand identity, right? So it's breaking down all those things. I have a lot of girls. I've worked with a lot of service providers, and I work with a lot of women that come to me and they say, I want a brand. And I'm like, all right, well, let's get going. Tell me about your business. And they can't tell me about their business. They, you know, they can't explain to me why they're different from their competition. And I'm like, well, we've got to start from the scratch. And they're like, okay, well, let's rebrand the logo. I'm like, well, no, logo is after this part. We have to talk about your brand and why it's special. We need to break down your differentiation, right? We got to talk about what your customers experience when they talk to you. We got to talk about your perception, your brand consistency, right? So we haven't even gone to that part of the visual part. Let's talk about why your brand is the way it is. Let's talk about those elements that shape your brand, right? And then we talk about that visual part. So a lot of people kind of skip that step. Now everybody is so invested in being an entrepreneur. The cool thing is, let's be an entrepreneur. I want to make my own money, but they're not willing to invest into their business, right? What do they say? You got to spend money to make money, right? So if, you know, even if that starts with a brand strategy call, my brand strategy calls, hey, we're sitting on a Zoom call, we're sitting on a Google Meet call or however, and we talking, hey, tell me about your brand. We got to break this down because you can't build a website and all you can tell me is about you as a founder. What makes your brand stand out, right? So I go all the way from scratch. So when I do introduce myself, say, hey, I'm a digital media specialist with a heavy concentration in brand development, because that's where it starts. And I can't say this enough. One of my things that I always tell everyone that comes to me and wants to rebrand is, look, don't come to me with no selfie that you want on your marketing materials. I actually bless the young lady's heart. I denied someone last week when she said, I want you to do all my rebranding, but I want a retractable banner first. And I'm like, okay, this kind of out of line, but we could do it. And she didn't have a professional picture. I said, there's no way I'm putting this selfie on your banner. There's no way we're going to put this permanent piece of marketing material out there in the world to see. No, we have to take pride in our appearance. And the first thing is we have to get a headshot. And I'm glad you brought up that, because when we talk about visual identity, a lot of people ask me why I'm so strong on headshots. And it's because regardless of what industry you're in, when it's time to submit that headshot, when someone asks you to speak or they want you, you know, you have to a LinkedIn profile, you still have to have it, right? It's still important whether you creating a website or not, whether you have a small business or not. Everyone should have a professional picture, right? So it goes into so many different things and so many aspects, but I'm glad that people have trusted me a lot, you know, over this journey to help brand their business.
That's excellent, because I never had a headshot until I met you. And I was like, well,
Yes.
let me just go. And I'm addicted to the headshot, because what they don't know is you use that headshot on multiple platforms. You use
Absolutely.
it for the websites, you use it for the flyers that we create, you use it for branding. Like for me, I'm running for office for my professional
Yes.
career. And that
Yes.
headshot, when the president called me and said, I just want to tell you that whoever doing your marketing, you almost is the only one that is serious about when we say get the flyers ready and get your branding material ready
Yes.
for, to go out in office. She said, James Zetta, you are always the only one that does
Yes.
that. So I want to say kudos to you, because a lot of people know that we're not going out there like that.
That's right.
You got to be branded.
Yeah.
And so it really gives all of us a professional look in terms of letting buyers and customers and organizations know that we are serious about the work that we're putting forth, because I'm spending time to invest in me. So
That's
they
right.
can see I'm spending time to invest in me.
That's right. And like you said, you're running for office, so you want people to take what you're saying seriously, right? It's the same when we talk about on the political scheme. They raise all this money in fundraisers because they know, right, that goes into marketing, advertising, visual flyers, billboards, that stuff goes into that because they know that perception is key. It's the same thing, so I'm just thankful that I have friend and client like you that understand this. You'd be surprised how many people I come across weekly that are ready to rebrand and take the next step. And I'm like, hey, this is an investment. It's not an overnight thing. But if you're looking to actually take these steps and implement these strategies, then it's going to take some time, but it'll be worth it, because you're going to start to see the return of investment once you've invested in yourself and your brand. So I think that you hit on some really important points when you talked about just investing and people seeing that return and saying, hey, we see you, we see you, we see what you're doing, we see how professional you are. There's not a business that you haven't branded, right? Like, that is not together. And you have a website for each one of your businesses. That's really important too. A lot of people want to bunch them all together, and then you're confusing your customer base. What are we here for today? You got this here, this here, this here, this here. You cut hair, you do taxes. What are we doing, right? Like, where is the structure? So it's important to when you talk about branding, it's important to make sure that you sit down and analyze and figure out that stuff before you even hit the pretty logo and the LLC, because that's another thing. Everyone thinks I got to get an LLC and I'm a business. Well, there's more to that too, right?
Yeah.
Like, how are you structuring that? So it's a lot. But yeah, you hit on some really good points. And so when are your dates? Because it's September is coming up, right? The election for you?
Yeah, the election is in September.
Good.
And so I'm excited. It goes through the Nurses Association. So students are a part of it, and then the state of Illinois nurses who are a part of that organization, the American Nurses Association, they get to vote. But one more topic I want to say, key focus I wanted to talk about is that one of the things, if I can change the thought process of small business owners, when people are putting out material and saying, like, I always like to put your name, whatever you've done, give you credit for the work that you've done. I am recently just published a book. And I always go to her like, she's like, I don't do that. I said, but you can. I'll do podcasts, but I kept saying, but you can.
That's right.
And so I just thank you for just pushing yourself. And I know sometimes it's not in your realm, but I know you can do it. And that's how much I believe in the work that you do, that I know you can do it even better than some things that I see. And small business owners, when we put out names of individuals, she's not just my person, she is a business owner. So I am referring and putting her name out there so that you guys can use her services. As you see how she branded me, from retractables to websites to flyers to what else, girl? You didn't
T-shirts, aprons, right?
I mean, aprons, chef hats.
Yeah.
They would call it. This is our fourth business, and she's branded almost everything, and I'm grateful. Use her services. If just because I use her and I found her doesn't mean I was the first person to have found her. I learned of her through other people on the internet and following them, like, oh, I want to try and use some of those services. And from there, I never stopped. So you can do the same. When I post, please use her services. Tell them, what is your thoughts about that too, that you possibly seen if someone have used your services first. Some owners like, oh, I don't want to be a copycat using the same persons, but believe me, she don't make the same things for nobody.
No, I do not. You're absolutely right. And I wanna touch on something you said earlier. Guys, when I say, I was like, I don't design book covers. I don't think I'm really good at that. She's like, no, you can do it. I know you can do it. And when I say she hit me up like 3 times, I'm like, all right, let me just try. And it ended up being, and she ended up loving it. I think I gave you like 3 designs to choose from, and you chose one, and we just went with that. And now I can say I've designed a published book. So I'm excited. I'm excited that you've given me that opportunity, because now I can say, oh yeah, I designed book covers, and I had no idea that was you. So thank you for that. But yeah, in a world, the social media, and this is why so much has changed over just a couple of years. When I first started getting into media, we had disposable digital cameras, and social media wasn't at its height that it's at now. So a lot of people rely 100% on social media. They live and breathe social media, which is great. That's the way, utilize it to your advantage. But you do have people that are not as creative and they're copycats, right? So it becomes hard, because you could be putting in all the work behind the scenes, and then someone come around and just take your design and take your thoughts process, and it's complicated. One of my things I do have in my design policy is, hey, you can give me inspiration. I'll take inspiration, but I do not copy. I don't believe in it. It's not genuine. It's actually makes you and your brand look bad when you want to copy someone else, right? So I just say that be as genuine as you possibly can. Again, in this world where technology is constantly moving, we have like AI and Chat GPT, and I'm not against that. I think it's important to use it to organize your thoughts, or maybe take a load off of you. But people are literally putting all of their captions and their Facebook statuses and stuff in Chat GPT, and okay, that may make a little sense, but there, like you said, authenticity. This is all about being authentic. So it's important that a part of you shows in your brand. It has to reflect in the values and the missions in your brand. And if you're just using AI, if you're copying people, first of all, you're not going to get where you need to get, right? And piggybacking on something that I mentioned earlier, when it comes to starting a business, a lot of people, we talked about people starting because they just want to make money. I want to make money. I want to make money. If your focus is money, then you're not going to attract the right people to your brand. If your focus is I want to look good, then you're not going to attract the right customers to your brand. So it's very important to make sure that you take the proper steps to create a branding strategy, and also invest in your brand as far as your visuals are concerned, because people, as we know this is, we see it all the time, and we do it as consumers. I'll do it in a heartbeat. I'll be on my phone shopping on the site, or and then I see that there may be something that's not as appealing to me, that okay, well, I might just pause on that and come back to it. How many times have we gone to someone and they say, oh, I don't do credit cards, or I don't do a website, I got a Facebook and I take Zelle and Cash App. And you're like, okay, thank you, I appreciate it. Because then at that point, I know that, first of all, I don't trust Zelle and Cash App to carry my business transactions, right? But if that's how you hey, right? So I think there's so many moving parts to it, because as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, it's important to take the right steps to invest. And
Mhm.
when you do that, you don't have to worry about copycats. So the copycats they gonna fail regardless. They're
Mhm.
not gonna evolve because they're copying you. So if someone's constantly copying you, then they're not gonna attract the right crowd, and they're not gonna make the sales that they need to, because they're not genuine. I met a young lady, and I'm gonna tell this story. I met a young lady who was a speaker, and she decided to get into the motivational speaking, and she was looking for branding, and we got that together. And she said that after her first speaking engagement, somebody that was very close to her decided that she wanted to get up and speak and do the same thing and talk about the same topics and workshops. But when she got up to speak, this other girl that, you know, it was a complete copy of her, of her speaking engagement, and the people
Mhm.
there realized that. So it all that stuff, I feel, I say all that to say all that stuff ends up biting you right back, being a copycat. People catch on. Social media now. Folks gonna
Mhm.
catch on to this looks like that and this sounds like that. It's too many tools and free resources out here to learn more about your brand and tap into your inner self, besides copycat. So I have a million and one things to say about that, but in the interim, everybody needs to learn how to invest in themselves. And when I say themselves, I don't mean just the visual part, but take the steps to create a branding guide and a strategy, so you can be authentic and be yourself with your small business.
And finally, I know you touched on payments.
Yeah.
People, if I cannot stress enough, as a small business owner, you want to have that way that people can pay you. And Vimo and Cash App and Zelle is not the way.
Right.
I
Correct.
use Square as for my clothing store. I use Square for my institute. I use Square from, and I have the same system that I can put multiple businesses on. And as I switch it, I didn't have to go buy another POS. So I switch it when it comes through there. It all comes through Square.
Mm-hmm.
And our my husband's restaurant, he uses Lavu. So you have to have ways to take money. They ask us, do you all take EBT or Zelle on a food truck? And I was like, well, you let me know what restaurant you can go into that you can use your EBT. And then let me know a restaurant that you can Zelle them the money. So
Right.
this is a restaurant on wheels. And I was like, and then when I go to businesses, they like, oh, I only do Zelle. So when you say that, you let me know you don't report your money. You don't pay
Mm-hmm.
taxes. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever you're doing, that's on you. But it's going to get really caught on to when a lot of people keep using Zelle and not reporting that money. And
Mm-hmm.
the IRS is going to be coming down with you. So you want to operate in integrity and with authenticity. Pay your little
Absolutely.
taxes. You ain't paying nothing. So just pay the little taxes. It ain't like you making 50, 60,000 dollars a month. If you making a little money, pay your little $200 taxes. Sometimes my taxes is like $100 to $200 a quarter. So don't operate like that. You're missing out on your blessings when you do that.
Mhm,
Get other
mhm.
payment systems. They're not going to kill you. There's Clover. I saw that don't even take any fees.
Yep.
There's a lot of systems that you can use, but when you do that and you don't pay your taxes, when you only use Zelle, people automatically know that you're not legit, because a
Mhm,
business owner, they're going to ask for, let me see your sales. And you need a
mhm,
system in place to track that. I can
mhm.
always do cash. If people give me cash, if they ask for Cash App, I have them all. My point is, but each one of my sales is recorded
That's
in
right.
my Square.
That's
So if
right.
you gave me cash, or even if you use Cash App or Zelle, it is I put it in as a cash sale.
Mhm.
Okay. If you use your credit cards, you can use those too. And it's funny when people see me, they was like, baby, you ain't missing no money. You take everything. Yeah, I really do. I
Yeah.
do, and that's how all business owners should be able. But I'm not taking no Zelle and EBT on the food truck.
Yeah, you definitely are 100% correct, and it goes the same too with when people have the multiple businesses and they want to put it all in one. No, that's supposed to be separate. You got to separate all that. But see, this goes back to investing. Here we go again, right? You didn't. We talked about visual and brand. Okay, now get you an accountant, not somebody who decided they wanted to do taxes and t-shirts, but somebody who's been doing accounting and dealing with money in small businesses for a long time, right? And mind you, no shade to the people who just decided that, but I'm saying you want to get professionals. This is all about investing, and I'm so glad you said that. Having a team is important too. If you can't make a flyer and you're not good in graphic design, then maybe you shouldn't be in Canva trying to create the flyer for the event in 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it, right? If you know that's not your ground, if you know you can't make t-shirts, don't buy no heat press and then want to try doing t-shirts. There's more to t-shirts than just buying a heat press, right? You see that, and I'm not mad at people to get their money, James. That I'm not mad at people who get their money, but what I am saying is you have to invest in all aspects of the business. I just brought on 2 people I'm outsourcing to help me right now because I know I got 20, 30 emails in my inbox. I know I can't do it alone because there is no iron team, right? So it's really important that I want to get orders and designs out as fast as I can. And I know the best way to do that is to get help. I can't do everything. The more and more people find out about me and want to invest in services, I got to create a system. Hey, I've got to, I do consultation calls. I send the notes over to my virtual assistant. She types it up. She does this, she does that. Boom. We've got a whole project ready for the client who's interested in onboarding, right? So it's all about teamwork. It's all about investing. It's about, like you said, investing in the right people, right? To make this happen. And let's just be even more honest. It's okay to not find those people right away. I can't count on how many times I've switched because I felt like, this person doesn't quite represent my brand values, or I'm not sure if we're a good fit. I don't know how many times I've told people, you know what? I love what you're doing, but I'm not sure if I'm the right fit for you. I think maybe you need this, and I can't give you this at this time. So, this is what it is, right? So, invest in finances, your brand imagery, online presence, not just social media. If I ask you about your business and you take me to Facebook, I'm going to say, okay, where's your website? Now I'm seeing a lot more, like when I say a lot more, I'm seeing a ton more people ask about websites. And when I get on these consultation calls with them, they want it because they know now when you apply for that funding, when you apply for that grant, they want to know, what are you legit? And guess what? They want to see your website. So you can't just go on GoDaddy and create you a generic website you did in one day. No, they want to see what you've been doing. They want your website to reflect the services. They want to see examples of the stuff that you're doing. Yes, it can connect to your social media, but it shouldn't be the main focus. You see what I'm saying? So I 150% agree with you. I think that it's important that small businesses take the time. I know we're in this like era in technology where everything is fast paced and convenient, and I need this. But I have so many people come to me after servicing me and say, you know what, I tried somebody else and they're great. But I think that I see what you mean about understanding brand. You understand my brand, so you know what I'm looking for. You understand what, my brand represents and my values and its mission. So you know what type of colors and all that type of stuff matters. And I think we just, as I take on this journey as a small business owner, I want to help as many women as I possibly can. And of course, I don't want to take on more than I can bear, but I will say, if it's anything we leave with today, it's that please, guys, please invest in yourself. Invest in your brand, invest in your business, invest in your team, invest in your circle and and make sure that the people around you, because this is another one, and I'm gonna leave it right here. Your prime audience is not your friends and family. If you look up, if you look up and your friends and family support your business, great. But do not go out here thinking that your friends and your family are going to support you and buy from you, because they're not. They are not your primary audience. If you think they're gonna pay your bills, they're not. If they think that they're gonna invest in your services, they're not. The goal is to, when you start a business, is to attract the right people that may not look like your family and friends. So that goes back to setting proper marketing and branding strategies to attract the right clients, so you can get the sales that you need. So don't go into this thinking it's easy. Don't go in. Everyone sees a logo and nice pictures, and there's strategies behind those visual, that visual identity. There's time put into that. There's social media posts that were curated and orchestrated before that. So don't ever think that it's just overnight and you're gonna, next week you're gonna make a couple $100. It does not work like that. So I just, investing in the right amount of people, team, finances, accountant, branding is gonna set you way above and place you above your competition.
Felice, I cannot thank you enough. Can you tell them, who are you? What is the name of your organization? How they can get in touch with you? Because a lot of people need some help. Y'all, don't be scared. Just go ahead and get the help that you need so that you can look just as professional as I am. I take pride in the work that I put forth, and I want the quality to exuberate in a certain manner. She is my lady, and that's who I go to for everything. I know she can do it. When she tell me, "Oh, I'll do," you can. Tell them I get in touch with you.
So my name is Felice. I am the owner of FMK Media. I'm a digital media specialist with a heavy concentration in brand development. And my website is www.fmk.media. Now, if you go to fmkmedia.com, it's going to take you to the same place, because I purchased both of those domains just in case. But you can go there. All my services and my portfolio is listed. If you want to see more of an extensive portfolio of my work, I do post a lot of my work on Instagram and in the actual Facebook page. So if you want to go, Instagram is fmk.media, and then Facebook is just FMK Media LLC. I also, if you go on to read about the website design services, you can book a complimentary discovery call. And the discovery call, we can talk about what your needs, what you're looking to do. We can even chat about, what some of your expectations that we have of each other, because that's really important, to lay out expectations and see if we can meet those expectations. And again, everything doesn't happen overnight, but if you're willing to work with me and you want to get some work done and you're excited about your brand, then give me a chance. I love to work with you, and I look forward to having more podcast talks like this so we can really dive into branding.
Felice, I can't thank you enough for everything you have done for me, my husband, our businesses. We would never be able to look this good without your specialty. Okay, y'all, this is the Change Builds Authenticity podcast. If you want to be a guest, go to changebuildsauthenticity.com and fill out the podcast guest form. Why don't you like, subscribe, comment? Until next time, thank you, Felice, for coming on the Change Builds Authenticity podcast. Thank you.
Woohoo!